So what I'm going to talk to you today about is how to move to Japan or how to live in Japan. So first thing you could do is if you have a passport, you will need a passport for this. If you don't have one, you might want to get one. And you're from a kind of European, Australia, New Zealand, developed Asian country. This is probably going to be more for you because it's more my background. You can come and stay here for 3 months. So that might satisfy your appetite for Japan if you stayed here 3 months. Could also leave, come back and stay another 3 months. I think they will get a bit suspicious if you do this more than like maybe 2 or 3 times. I think you can only do it 1 or 2 times. You can leave and come back. But you can get a 90-day visa, so you can stay here 3 months if you're from basically. It's just a V's. This is Europe, the EU, and even non-EU places like Serbia. In Asia, some of the countries which are eligible, this is visa on arrival, so you don't need any application at the embassy. Yeah, yeah. What am I trying to say? Yeah, no application at the embassy. If you're from, you can stay for a certain amount of time. Obviously, yeah, Thailand, 15 days. That's not very long. If you're Thai, yeah, Canada, United States. Some other countries in Central and Southern America can also go. So this is something you can look into. You cannot change your visa anymore. So if you enter on this visa, if you find a job or you want to stay longer and work here, you have to leave the country, go somewhere else or go home and wait for your application to be processed. Okay. But if you've got the funds and you want to say 3 months, this will satisfy your appetite, and you're from, say, like Europe, EU country, one of these more developed countries, this is something that you can look into and, yeah, enjoy. So how about if you want to work and live a little longer in Japan? So something you might want to look into is working holiday visa. So this is more restricted, but it will allow you to stay, I think 6 months to maybe up to 2 years, depending on the agreement that your country has with Japan. It's different for every country. So I'm from the UK, and you could get 1 year's working holiday visa. My friend from Australia, he could get 6 months visa, but he could extend it 3 times, so up to 1.5 years in total. Again, like the tourist visa, you cannot change to another visa now, so you have to leave the country while your new visa application is processed. So yeah, a lot. It's not all of the EU. I think Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary is in here, Estonia, Latvia, and Poland. I met someone from Poland doing this. Oh, there are limits on the number of people, the number of applicants each time, which is something you may want to think about when applying for this visa. You also need money in your bank account. I think I needed maybe £2,000 and an itinerary. So you have to kind of maybe work for a few months and save a bit of money to show that you're not going to be destitute if you can't find a job. Something with this visa I found was I did the same thing in Australia and came up against a hurdle getting service jobs, because I didn't have any reference or experience doing service jobs at the time. I'd only done retail jobs. I was fresh out of basically school. They're like, oh, well, you don't have any experience in the service industry, we won't hire you, mate. It's like, that seemed to be what I'd come up with. Whereas in Japan, they'd hire me even though I couldn't speak any Japanese at the time. As long as you know, like, irashaimase, do nasaimasu ka, they're like fine hiring you to like bring plates or wipe tables or whatever. They just need service staff kind of that badly. And they're not too fussy, and you can work in like an izakaya or something. So it's actually kind of a good entrance if you want to stay a year or so. You can also kind of like maybe get things figured out, but you will eventually have to leave to continue. Like you'll have to leave eventually, even if you have a job here which is going to sponsor you, to get your next visa. Yeah, like my coworker in my last job, I was working kind of like as a tour guide. He was on a working holiday visa. He was from Hungary, actually. He left. He needed to change to his next visa, so he had to leave, and he went to Korea for a few months and came back. Anyway, moving on. ESL is probably the easiest route. It's probably better if you're from a country where the official language is English, for this route. First is you should probably look into the JET program. So this is an ALT job, which is an assistant language teacher. So you're basically you're hired by a board of education, and like working in a public school. I never did this. I looked into it before I came, but I didn't want to wait 2 years. I think that was a waiting period. I kind of regret that now because it's a lot better than the other jobs that you're probably going to be offered by, say, recruitment agencies or other ALT companies, which are a bit more exploitative. But about the JET program, it doesn't. Current testimonials about the JET program. Overview of the JET program. Well, is an initiative college graduates. Yeah, you have to have a degree. This is something I should have said. For not only do you need to be a native English speaker for ESL jobs in Japan, you also have to have a bachelor's or undergraduate degree. Teaching experience, language knowledge are not required. In schools, yeah. Well, in public schools, you'll often be working with Japanese teachers who'll take care of that for you. You might for elementary school teachers, so you can talk to the teachers who might not necessarily be competent speaking English. But yeah, usually when you first come for these kind of jobs, like ESL jobs, like language ability is not required. So this is JET, which is probably, I think they'll pay you basically the entry salary of a school teacher, which is about 350,000 yen a month, which is a lot more than you would get if you're working for sort of any other ESL company. Okay, so say you don't want to go with JET, there are other companies doing the same thing. Link Careers Japan. They hire for Interac, and you can work for them as an ALT, but you get considerably less. Your pay is a lot less, and you might be working a lot more hours as well. Anyway, basically the same job, but you get a lot less pay. Something else I want to say. There are also other companies hiring for these kind of ALT positions. You can find them sort of online on websites. I'll get into that a bit later. Moving on. Okay, I should probably talk Kaiwa ESL Cafe. When I've applied for jobs in Japan from outside Japan, I've usually used this website, ESL Cafe. If you go to the International Job Board, I also used it when I wanted to work in Korea. Things are changing now. Everything's moving a bit more online, which personally I think is a terrible way to learn and teach. But anyway, moving on to getting back to the point. Yeah, English teachers. I think the search bar. Let's see Japan in the search bar. Okay, positions across Japan. Here's a position here. You can find a Kaiwa teaching positions. The good thing about this website is they're looking for people they're hiring outside Japan, and native speak with children formally and formally. Yeah. You can get a job if you're not already in Japan with this website, which means they're willing to wait like a couple of months for you to arrive. What else was I going to look at? Yeah, the salaries are a lot lower than, say, you would get with Jet. But it's more flexible. I kind of liked working in Eikaiwa because you have shorter working hours. If you want to do something else on the side, it's kind of a good job for that. Be careful about some of the details. So this company has enrollment in the social security system or social insurance system, Shakai Hoken. Look out for that. Be wary of companies which want to hire you as a semi-part-time or what is it? Like independent contractor. There are companies who will do that. It means like they're trying to avoid their obligations as an employer by either hiring you as a part-time worker so they don't have to pay their part of the social insurance, which means you'll have to pay all your pension and all your health insurance yourself. So look out for that. And I think if independent contractor, you have to pay all your taxes yourself as well. So be careful of that. There are some exploitative companies out there which do this. If you know about it and you're willing to take the risk. But if you can deal with that, that's fine. You can look into this just to get a job and a visa. But be aware of that. And make sure you stay on top of, say, things like pension. I was told, you don't have to pay the pension. Well, you do. And eventually it caught up and I had to pay it all at once, which was a bit difficult. Anyway, websites you can use, ESL Cafe. You can also try domestic websites. So I've got YOLO bookmarked, sorry. This used to be more for kind of students looking for part-time jobs in Japan, but I found some full-time jobs. But it's more probably expecting you to already be here, so they might not be able to wait like 3 months while your visa is processed. So it might be domestic applicants only. Jobs in Japan is another one. Some of the jobs let's just go to all jobs. Okinawa, okay. But as you see, domestic applicants only for a lot of these jobs. Some of these have, this ACAM one has overseas applicants only. Overseas applicants only, overseas applicants welcome, which is, English level fluent, not necessary. Something, but same as, next website, Gaijin Pot. This is a good one. Again, their usually requirements is often residing in Japan, but you might be able to find a job where you're not required to reside in Japan. Again, what was I gonna say? I forgot. So these are some of the websites you can use. YOLO, and there are other ones as well. That's what I was gonna say. Again, usually they're not quite paying the amount that maybe like Jet pay. Some of the boards of education also hire directly. BOEALT, Board of Education, like Saitama City Board of Education, though I'm not sure how easy this would be if you're applying from overseas. I worked for them before, but I was already living in Japan, so it was a relatively smooth visa transition. Anyway, next, that's what I was going to say. Okay, kind of qualification. So ESL is an option. If you have IT qualifications or IT experience, this is probably a better option for you because you can earn like a lot more money and have a kind of like a much better career like prospects than you would. But obviously you need, I have a lot of friends who have been doing sort of IT based jobs. Okay, I should move on to the visa. So basically if you're as an ALT, assistant language teacher, and you're in school, you'll be changed applying for an instructor visa. And then for Eikaiwa work, which is like after school work, academies, sort of, or where people go, conversation schools or training schools. That's the job. I think it was in. Is that the job in Nagoya? ESL Cafe. Japan. Okay, so already searched. Yeah, this kind of job. You're on a specialist in humanities visa, which is kind of a catch-all for everything. Same for engineers, and I think it's the same if you're working as in the IT field. Oh yeah, instructor. Not instructor. Also, there are companies which hire for people working in universities, in which case you can actually be, your visa will be a professor visa. But all these visas have, say, limitations. So, for instance, with the instructor, you are kind of restricted to doing only education-based work. The specialist in humanities visa is more flexible. You can do other kind of jobs. Like for instance, I worked as a tour guide for a while, and then I also have the same visa. Okay. Anyway, anything else I need to say? Yeah, obviously there are some other routes. Like if you're in the American military, you can get posted here. I don't know how to do that. And when I've met people, if you're in the American military, you can look into that. But I'm not, and I'm not American. So actually something I do kind of think is like, it is actually probably a lot easier than you think because there aren't these very tight restrictions on visas and who can apply that you might find, say, in the European Union, or like or like America, where there are strict quotas on how many people. This doesn't really exist. Basically, if you can find a job here and you're qualified and legally able to do that job, then you can get a visa. So it's actually probably in many ways a lot easier than you expect. And also, if you're 18 to 30, and you're from the right country, you also have the working holiday visa option. And if you're rich enough, you can probably just stay here 3 or 6 months anyway. Anyway, I kind of like feel like my mind's kind of like slowing down a bit now. So I think that's all I'm gonna add for now. I'll probably come and change this video and make it a little bit more streamlined when I have time. But for now, maybe I should. Japan flag. Yeah, I should probably have a picture of a Japan flag or something. Yeah, it's my outgoing what's it called? The shot that has the shot? What do you call it? Shot that you see at the front of a video. Anyway, there it is. Bye.